Hey everyone, welcome back to Zero Gravity. Today I'm talking about the infamous Helios 44 lens. I've got the 44M here, which is the second swirliest bokeh, I believe, and 44-2 is the swirliest of the swirly bokeh. But again, it's an infamous lens. It's been used, all over everything. Dune. What was the other one? Oh, the Batman. It's Greg Fraser's favorite lens. I don't know if it's Greg Fraser's favorite lens. If it is, awesome. And I just nailed it. But if it's not, it's a pretty good lens. I naturally have bought one too. I bought it about 8 months ago and I paid 35 euros for it. And I don't know what it is in dollars, but it's super cheap. I mean, you have to get a adapter because it's an M42 mount, and I have a cheap ass adapter which just broke on me the other day. I'm gonna show you. So don't get cheap adapters maybe, but it is what it is. But it has a problem, I think. No, I don't think, I actually am 99% sure that it has a problem because it produces super weird results. It's like there's a mist inside, there's fungus inside. And I know Helios has a very vintage character to it, it has a very mystic character to it, but this produces some really weird results. I'm probably showing you something too. I've looked it up and it says it can have internal dust, internal fungus, or lens coating degradation, which I think it has dust or fungus, because I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let's just try. Oh, hello. I mean, you might be able to see the mist inside a little bit. I don't know, maybe. If not, it's kind of a shame, but it really does have something. And yes, I did stop down to f4, f5.6, f8. It still doesn't go away. Maybe I'll do a test, and if I'm doing a test, I'll just show you that right now, and if I don't, you're just gonna have to believe me, I guess. But nevertheless, the results are fire, and I literally wrote fire in my script, and I'm really into the look. The thing is, it has a lot of chromatic aberration. If you misfocus 1 centimeter, it goes crazy. I don't hate the look. Some pictures, some frames, it is a little bit too much, but I really don't hate the look. I don't really mind it. It does feel like halation. I really like that. Swirly bokeh is just sauce. I wrote that in the script too. I really like it. It is not the swirliest of the swirly bokeh because it's 44-2, and I think 44M is the second swirliest bokeh, but I'm not sure. Again, there's a video about that. You can check it out. And oh yeah, dare I say, it has a filmic quality to it. I think so. Well, without further ado, let's get to Lightroom and check that out there. This is a picture that you can see. You can obviously see the chromatical aberration and the blooming around the highlight. So this is the original image. And if we take a look at the original image, the out of focus areas have a very red, outline, I think I would say. So it is obvious that it has a chromatic aberration problem, which again, I don't think it's a problem, but yeah. And if we take a look at it even more, even at the bokeh, there's obvious that there's a lot of chromatic aberration. But again, I think this is the part that it speaks to the vintage character of it. It feels like a bit more film because of these halation-like qualities and the highlight blooming, as you can see here. I mean, if we think about it, it could be a little too much for some images, which this was, I think, one of those. But again, it fit the story, and there's a really cool lens flare, as you can see. And if we enhance this image with a bit of Lightroom magic, as you can see, you can also see my, settings and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff, but, I've done videos about that, and there will be more videos about photo editing. So, we're going to take a look at it in another video, I guess. But as you can see, we have enhanced some of those qualities in here. I also really love using the haze from my pictures because I think it just adds even more vintage quality to it. So I kind of like that look, and it's I think it's a cool look. All right, next one. All right, so this is also another one of those. Let's take a look at the original picture. As you can see, this was the original one, and again, if we look at the highlights, the out of focus highlight areas, it's obvious that there is a chromatic aberration problem again, but I think it really looks cool. And if we add a little bit of that Lightroom magic, as you can see, it does some pretty cool stuff. The highlight blooming in this picture is also a lot, but again, that speaks to the vintage quality of the thing. And as you can see, bokeh starts to swirl just a little bit, not a lot in this picture, but we're gonna come to that. So this was also another picture for that chromatic aberration, but you know, I'm just gonna cruise over it right now. As you can see, before and after. This is also one of those pictures, and also you can see here that bokeh starts to swirl, and the cat's eye bokeh goes crazy, which I really do like. I really do enjoy. I think gives a bit more of that, you know, the anamorphic bokeh like stuff, which is again pretty cool stuff. Gives a very immersive quality to the picture. And this is probably this is probably my favorite picture that I've took ever, probably. There's a lot that you can see here. So this was the original picture, and as you can see, okay, there's some like sun coming into the picture, so naturally a little contrast is gonna go lost, but you know, there's a lot of Helios characteristics also that you can see. So it's obviously, again, very misty, very low contrast. But if you look at the out of focus areas, the bokeh, again, very swirly, very anamorphic like, which I really, really do love. And pretty cool picture. I mean, you kind of have to go crazy. I mean, you don't have to, but I like to go a little crazy on the curves with Helios and the contrast, because, you know, since it doesn't have a lot of contrast, you can go crazy with the contrast and add some contrast to it. As you can see, some cool stuff can happen. And the lens flare here is also like a pretty cool add, I think, but I'm just gonna leave the contrast around like this for this picture. This picture, again, I took this because of the swirly bokeh, and the, you know, I want to take a look at the bokeh. Again, towards the edges, it swirls a lot more, and the cat's eye is happening a lot. Again, these were all shot in f2, so, you know, that's something to consider. But again, I really love the bokeh. This picture is a, you know, good example of that. This is also one of my favorite pictures I've took. And if we look at this, there's a lot of stuff happening in this picture. First of all, this was the original one. In the original one, you can even see the swirl even more, especially around these areas, which I really do think it looks super cool. Like, super cool, very immersive. And if we, you know, do some geometry adjustments and, you know, that 500T profile from me, from my presets, and, you know, some edits, I think it looks super immersive. And even, you know, it's kind of like a basic shape, takes a very immersive shape. And yeah, I really like that. I'm gonna say the word creamy. It looks very smooth, very creamy, very buttery smooth. I don't know how else to explain it, but you know, this is also one of those, like, the vintage characteristics. When someone talks about those vintage lenses, they say it's smooth, they say it's creamy, and I think it's that. It's not super sharp. I mean, it is sharp on the, you know, the center, but out of focus areas are like very creamy smooth, and you know, this speaks to that. So this was the original picture, and yes, there's also some like post-processing happening, so there's added smoothness to it, I guess, but again, still pretty cool picture. This is actually pretty cool. So this was the original photo, and if we take a look at the edited photo, I think it has a very portrait-like quality to it. Is it because the subject's out of focus? Is it because of cool frame? Is it because of the color? I don't know, but I think it looks super cool. Okay, so this was something that I really liked. If we take a look at the original picture, again, very misty, very low contrast. And I think this is also one of those things, it really reacts well to some contrast adjustments, as you can see in here, because it doesn't really, I mean, this is a very contrast image, yes, but you can, you know, push it a lot and you still get a really good looking image out of the whole thing. For this one too, it has the highlight roll-off is very film-like, I would say, very smooth. Yes, there's some post-processing happening, as you can see, the curves and all that, but I really do like that. This is also a pretty cool shot. You can take a look at it. There's a lot of blooming happening, and some chromatic aberration, as you can see there, those blues there, very misty, but also very cool picture. Take a look at this one. So some weird stuff is happening. I also took this because of that, and I also like this one. If you look at the bokeh here, there's some, you know, cat's eye going crazy, because also, like, this was the minimum focus, literally minimum focus. And if you take a look at the background bokeh, cat's eye, and that swirl is going crazy because it should be, you know, the circular, and this is very oval shape, and like cat's eye, you can obviously see the cat's eye effect there, but I really do think it looks super cool, and it is very creamy. So this was the original one, and this is the edited version. This is also pretty cool because I wanted to see how it reacts to greens, and as you can see, I think it's good. It's very, I'm gonna say again, it's filmic. I think it looks super filmic. If we take a look at this one, this was like this, and we turned it into something like this with a couple of adjustments. And again, this was like this, and then turned into something like this. All right, this is one of the cooler pictures that I've took. It looks super cool. I think this is also kind of like a. We can take a look at the Lightroom adjustments here. Some stuff is happening, obviously, but you know, I think it looks pretty cool. Same thing for this one. I think it is very filmic picture, so I really like this one. Same for this one. Bokeh is not super swirling, it's just swirling a little bit because this is in focus, that is out of focus, and I think you can obviously see, okay, this is the rain. Okay, so you can't really see that. I thought maybe you could see the dust, but no. Again, you can see the bokeh swirl really beautifully there. If you take a look at the original one and the edited version, there's a lot of color difference and stuff like that, so it's a heavily edited picture, yes, but you know, this also speaks to the quality of ZV-E10. You can push a lot out of this camera. I mean, a lot. 14-bit RAW, really good pictures. Last but not least is this picture, which I really do enjoy, with someone with an architecture background. You can obviously see the focal, focal plane starts there, and you know, the background and foreground is out of focus, but it has, again, I mean, I'm using these words, but it has a very creamy quality to it before and after, you know, with some post-production done, of course, but it is very smooth, and it just gives that, you know, people talk about that 3D pop and that smoothness and that creaminess, and I think this is one of those lenses that it really gives that quality. All right, I think I talked too much. Let's get to my outro. As a photography lens, I really love it. I don't just love the look, I love the look, but not just about that. I love the, you know, the experience of shooting with it. Manual focusing, and you don't just go and you just have to focus, and you have to be intentional with it. I think the experience with it is pretty cool. I think the look is pretty cool. So as a photography lens, thumbs up. Now the other question is it a video lens, or like, what do I think about the video lens? Like, of course it can be a video lens and blah, 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 but what do I think about it? I think the answer there is a bit more complicated. Since the ZV-E10 does not have IBIS, and since this is a 58mm lens, which in APS-C or Super 35 format language, it's about 85 to 90 millimeters, which is a very tight focal length, and you know, it does have that, you know, the micro jitters that comes with it, and without the IBIS, and you know, it doesn't matter if you put it on stable, what's the name of it? Catalyst browse, or like DaVinci Zone stabilization, or you know, E-stabilization, active stabilization, whatever. It doesn't really matter, because with the awful rolling shutter of the ZV-E10 Mark I, it produces awful results. Like you get really sick watching it. So I don't think it's a lens for that, at least not for handheld shooting. I think it could be really cool for, you know, tripod stuff, which I'm gonna incorporate it more. I think I really wanna. But other than that, I don't think it's for like ZV-E10 and handheld. For another camera, when I get another camera, I'm gonna go crazy with it, with handheld looks, with handheld shooting stuff. But until then, this lens is just going to be a tripod lens, or like a photography lens for me, but it doesn't have to be that for you. All right, I talked a lot. Okay, my verdict: get a Helios. It's cheap as and it's worth it as too.